Hello and welcome to the channel. This is the Vision Neue Klasse X and it's the future of BMW. Stick around, let's check it out together. The Vision Neue Klasse X is only a concept car, but it hints very strongly at a production car that's due for launch in 2025. That's just next year. Given its size and the fact that it's an SUV, you're probably looking at the next BMW X3 here. But I wonder how much of what we see with the concept car will actually make it into showrooms. Now let's have a closer look at the design of the car, starting at the front end, of course. Now it is very recognizably a BMW because it has, of course, a double kidney grille. But let's talk about the grille later. I really like what they've done with the headlights here. And this is a show car, remember, so I'm not sure how much of this will actually make it into production. But regarding these vertical oriented kidney grilles, two things to note. Apparently BMW is going to save this orientation for its X cars, and secondly, I like how they've replaced chrome with light. I can't wait to see this on the road. Something else that's worth noting, on the show car at least, is how for the BMW badge, it's not actually a badge, it's kind of etched onto the car. And it's a good example of how this car is all about minimalism and subtraction. Now come on, have a look at the side. Now, a couple of things jump out. It's very cleanly surfaced, this car, and BMW says it's monolithic. I'm not sure I would use that word myself, but it is very clean, and it kind of reminds me of many electric cars that are on the road today, which are also very similarly slimmed down. One thing I do like is these door handles over here. You can see that they kind of protrude out, but they kind of replace cutouts for regular door handles, and they leave a very clean surface over here. Another thing that jumps out, these pillars here are very slim, and just come and look at this B pillar over here. It has the appearance of slenderness. The pillar itself is quite thick, and I think that's for safety. Now, I don't know if that will make it into production because this slim element would have to be strong enough in a production car for crash safety. But it's left a car that has a nice large glass house, so I hope that makes it into production. And here's a neat detail. This line here actually swoops up to meet the tail spoiler in a nice continuous straight line. So there's a nice little detail here. If you follow me around to the back of the car, there's actually quite a lot to see as well. I really like these sort of little fairing shapes on the roof spoiler here. Something that's very distinctive on the Neue Klasse X. These horizontal tail lamps. You can see it's got a very classic BMW graphic here in the form of this L-shaped light. And if you've noticed on the other Neue Klasse cars, they don't look quite as production ready. They have much more exaggerated elements. But this one, you can kind of imagine seeing this on a production car. Once again, the BMW badge is kind of downplayed in this car. I don't think that will actually make it into production, but the rest of it, I really hope we see it on the roads. But whatever happens with the exterior, I think it's the inside of the Neue Klasse X that holds the most clues about what to expect from BMW in the future. A couple of things jump out in this cabin. The color motif is very orange and very inviting. The back of the car actually has a very wide bench, and that's because they've made use of the electric architecture of this car. There's no central tunnel, so that creates a very airy space. And don't forget, SUVs are meant to be used by families, so the space in the back is meant to be almost like a lounge or a sofa where family members can kind of sit back and relax. But let's talk about the front now. There's so much going on here that I don't even know where to start. This open, airy layout is emphasized in this car, so you don't have a big transmission tunnel. This isn't a production car, so I can't tell you about storage spaces or cup holders or anything like that. But the interesting thing here is what's in front of me. Now, this dashboard is backlit, and the lighting is active. It actually creates patterns that reflect what's going on this central screen over here. Now, let's talk about this central screen. You've noticed it's a parallelogram shape, and I really think this is one of the things that's actually going to make it into production. Now, the reason they've done that is, if you remember what current BMWs are like, they have a bunch of screens, and they kind of curve towards the driver, which really excludes the co-driver, let's say. They've tried to do this screen in a way that kind of tilts towards the driver to make it sort of more oriented towards the driver to use, but doesn't exclude everybody else. And this is a good example of how this car is meant to be more digital than ever. So let me just see if I can come to terms with it. BMW is promising that it is a very highly digital car and very highly customizable. So let me show you what I mean. Let's see if I can make this work. Now, right in front of me is the Panoramic Vision Display. that actually goes almost from pillar to pillar, and it's a screen that I can customize. So it's really quite easy to do. I've got 6 slots over here, and I'll have 6 slots up there. So let's say weather is important to me. I could just drag it there, and the weather shows up over there. Air quality, let's put the clock at spot number 3, and in real time it's actually showing up in front of me. So I have this car exactly as I like it. So I'm just going to go home for a second, and let me just tell you that this looks like a screen, but there's a kind of depth effect over there, and that's because it's actually just a reflection. The real screen is on top of the dashboard. You can't really see it, and I'm looking at a reflection of it, but it looks seamless and it looks really good. You can't really see the pixels. Now, the other element that is supposed to be revolutionary in terms of how you control your car is this steering wheel. Now, have a look at this spoke over here and here. They've done that because, you know, the instrumentation is no longer right in front of you, so you don't have to look through the steering wheel anymore, and it's over there in the panoramic display. So that's freed up ideas like this spokes over here. On the left side is where you would control functions that have to do with driving, so all your active driving assist and things like that. And on the right side are all the infotainment functions. And I think this is going to be a very customizable car. And think about it like this. I might have an iPhone 12, and maybe my wife has an iPhone 12, and they're the same model, but because of all the apps and all the customization that we have, they're actually very different phones. I should probably say, Neue Klasse is actually a very emotional name for BMW. It recalls a key moment in the company's history when it launched a Neue Klasse or new class of car, and it represented a technological reboot for the brand. With the Neue Klasse, BMW had changed the way it designed and built its cars. And after losing money for years and years, BMW launched the 1500 in 1962, and it was a smash hit. A year after its launch, BMW was able to pay dividends to shareholders for the first time in 20 years. By the end of the 1960s, the company's revenue was up 7 times. With the Vision Neue Klasse X, BMW today is invoking a historical name, probably in the hopes that financial history will repeat itself. So that's our quick and dirty look at the BMW Vision Neue Klasse X. It is a concept car, but it very strongly hints at the next BMW X3. What do you think of this car? Do you think BMW is going the right way with design, or do you think they've made a mistake? I really want to know, so leave us a comment, and be sure to like this video and hit subscribe. We're just a new channel, so we could really use your support. Thanks for watching. See you again.